Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Pete. If you haven't been here before, then welcome. And if you're newly subscribed, thank you very much. And if you have been subscribed for a long time, thank you so much. Now, I did a video last week and I put it live and I said, you know, I wanted to do something for the community. I want to put out some questions. I want to poke the bear a little bit, but I want to do it in a nice way. You know, there's no need for us to be not friends here, because we all play guitar, we all love guitar, we love different things. You know, people are different, people like different things, and that's okay. You know, some people like relic guitars, other people don't like relic guitars. So that's not what this is about. Today I thought I was gonna sort of put a question out there. Cheap guitars, right? Cheap guitars. What do we think about cheap guitars? Is there people out there who prefer cheap guitars, more affordable guitars? You have to be careful with the word cheap. And what is cheap? What is a cheap guitar? You can buy guitars from Amazon for, I don't know, 69 quid. You can buy East Coast Anderson's own brand for about 99 pounds for a guitar. You can buy a Harley Benson guitar. I haven't tried the Harley Benson guitars yet, but I don't know the price of them. I know that they used to be cheaper. But I'm not sure what they are now. The range is so big, it's completely ridiculous. But one of the guitars that I really, or one range of the guitars that I really just rate more than anything else. This is not a sponsored video, by the way. This is me doing video on my own back, talking about things that are out there and things that I would like to kind of talk about and see what the community has to offer and what they think about these things. Maybe I can provoke some thoughts and, you know, we can get something going. And please be nice in the comment section, because this is it's all about being nice. You know, there's no point in fighting or calling each other names. And because we all have an opinion, we all like different things. So, and you know, at the end of the day, what we all do like is guitars and instruments and being musicians. Anyway, so back to what I really rate as a guitar. I know this is purple. This is one of the, hold it up. This is a classic vibe Squire. This is a purple limited one we did at Anderson's at a point a while back. I also have it in a Telecaster version. And but I thought, because I never really play Strats or S-style guitars very much, I thought I'd play a little bit like that, a bit of that for you today. So here's my question. Right, here's my question. And I know that this has been covered on a lot of YouTube channels before, but I want to give you the opportunity to have a discussion. What are you a fan of? Are you a fan of cheap guitars, expensive amp? Cheap guitar, cheap amp? Guitar, expensive guitar, cheap amp, expensive guitar, expensive amp. I know money is relative. Some people have got a lot of money, and to them, £10,000 or £5,000 is a lot, and to some people £99 is a lot. I get that, and I respect that, and that's, of course, you know, that's just how life is. That's how the world is run. Unfortunately, I would love everybody to be able to afford everything that they can. But anyway, Squire Classic Vibe starts from about 350 quid, something like that. I'm not quite sure. When I say quid, I mean dollars, dineros, kroner, Danish kroners, whatever. So 350 British pounds. That's what I mean when I say quid. 369, whatever. And for that you get a really classic looking guitar. I mean, if you're looking for a Strat but can't afford, you know, what's a Strat nowadays? I know you can get a Fender logo one here. We've done the videos on the new standard range and they're about £500. I personally prefer 350 quid for this, because you get all the vintage appointment lacquered neck. You get, you know, I know you don't get a rosewood board and stuff like that, you know, but this is another thing I want to talk to you about. But the first question is, cheap amp, expensive, cheap guitar, expensive amp. Now, here's the thing. Do you use amps out there? And if you do use amps, what do you gain from using amps? And if you don't use amps, if you use QC, Veils and GB2 on it? Do you plug into your phone? What do you do? What are you doing? Are you using headphones? What do you do? Have you got one of those micro Mustangs, the little bus ones, the Vox ones, the New X ones? What have you got? What is your thing? And how does that affect your practice? How does that affect your ability to develop yourself as a musician in your playing? Do you feel like you are sort of, are you limited in a way by the sound, by the fact that you don't have an amplifier and a speaker, that is not loud in the room, that you can't play it properly? Are you affected by, noise gates, which just when you play a note, it cuts it off? Compresses the sound. You're just stuck in the middle of that. You're not able to, explore the sonic abilities and the harmonies and everything that guitars comes with. Personally, I prefer cheap guitars because they're so good today, and then a more expensive amp. And that's one of the reasons why when we do videos on Andersons, that we do sometimes use katanas, or whatever it might be, Fender Champions or Black Stars or whatever. But the reason why I prefer to use a more expensive amp is because you can get more out of the guitar. Now here's another question, and I know this question might, I'm not trying to offend anyone, but here's the thing that I've thought about a lot, is that if you're not good enough, I know, and I don't want to be big-headed here, but I've heard other people say it, other players that are, if you're not good enough to get the most out of this guitar, let's say that's this much, that's this square here, this is as much as it has to give. But if you're only as good as this, you're never gonna get that out of it. So let's say you spend $5,000 on a guitar, you might get that much more. We're not talking $5,000 or $3,000 compared. It's not 3,000 times as much. It might be that much more. But if you're only good enough to get this out of that guitar, you can't get this out of this guitar. How can you ever get that much out of a $5,000 guitar? Is it then a necessary purchase? Yes, if you have the money and you want it, or you've saved up for it and that's what you want, fine, by all means, go ahead, buy the guitar, play it. But don't we think that practice is a bit more important? Practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes improvement, right? And for me, I think this is, without again offending anyone or coming across like a bellend or dickhead or whatever you call it, I think just the fact is that I think today, when I grew up, I'm gonna sound old or whatever, but we used amps. My first amp was an Ampeg, and then SV222 or something, and then I played a valve state for a long time, with a 12 in it. And then I had a Marshall JCM 800 with a 412 cap. I know people go, yeah, today we can't do it and we can't play it and we can't do this, and I live in a flat in a house. And that's the same. We had the same thing. We lived in houses, we lived in flats. That's the way it was. We gigged with those amps, and no sound man wasn't angry all the time. Maybe that was a little bit different, but as a practice tool, we didn't have the access to all the stuff that we have now. And I do think, in my humble opinion, I think it kind of hinders, it stops the development of guitars, of playing, of learning the full aspect of a guitar. You'll never see, a drummer with an acoustic kit. He's so limited. He's so limited. A violin player, they connect with the instrument in a different way. An acoustic guitar, you have got all of that, you got all of this stuff, and you can learn this whole spectrum of all of this stuff that your guitar has to offer. Where I think if we are sitting down with an electric guitar, an electric guitar needs think an electric guitar needs to be able to breathe. You need not to you need to give it what it deserves, in my opinion. And for you to be able to grow with the guitar, for you to be able, I'm just going to put some reverb from a Flint on. So for you to be able to play. You to be able to, I know I made a mistake there, but this is what we do. There's no cuts or anything like that. You get what you get, you know. Because of making mistakes, it's also a way of learning to play guitar. And the cheap guitars are so good today. But I think what we are doing is what I see people doing, and you can do whatever you want. This is just my opinion, you know. This is my opinion, and this is what I think. I think that we're missing, people starting up playing are missing the experience. A connection that goes from a guitar to the cable, which has been the same. The jack cable has been the same for as long as the guitar's been around, you know, and probably even longer than that. It was a military thing. I don't know. It goes straight into the amplifier, and you got some magic in here in the box. I get the point of QCs and Kempers and Helix and all of this stuff. I get it. It's convenient. It's great. It sounds great, right? That's not the point. And I couldn't tell the difference if I didn't have that mic. If I had that mic'd up in another room and I was listening to my Genelec speakers in the room or whatever. But that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm not talking about that stuff once it's recorded. I'm talking about the experience that you get when you're sitting in the room, plug the guitar in, and you play the G chord. You know, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that you sit down, you plug it in, and then you want to keep playing. It makes you excited when you hear the nuances, when you hear the sounds, when you hear all of that stuff that the guitar's doing, when you touch the string with your finger or with your, with whatever. That's the kind of thing that I'm thinking about. And those are the kind of things when I am playing through headphones or through a small set of monitors or whatever. Those are the things that I don't find. I live in a house and I've got a house attached next to me as well. You know, there's neighbors here and I've got an amp and, you know, I'm playing it relatively loud, not super loud because I don't want to offend anyone. But again, during the day, I just feel like I can step on an overdrive pedal and I can go. You know. Lots of reverb. And also, this is not a video where I'm comparing any guitars or cheap guitars. I'm not doing a review on this guitar. I'm trying to put out something in the community where we are talking about how do you practice and how do you get better and how do you improve. I see a lot of people, you know, they're waiting for the next firmware update for something. And I know people out there that know me are going to laugh at me because I've got a thing with firmware updates. And you know, they update it and that takes for 20 minutes or whatever. And then they sit there and you sit and spend, you know, they spend an hour. You know, people spend an hour, 2 hours finding a sound in one of these. It's great, these great tools. And if I were going on tour again with a pop act or whatever, something that required that and in-ears and stuff, I would use a Helix or a Kemper or a Neural or the Fender Tone Master Pro because they're all great and they all sound good and they all do the job and they're, you know. But I know I have to sit down and spend an hour, 2 hours, you know, and then all that, and then that. And then if I make all the sound in my headphones, then if I go out in a studio environment, or, you know, I plug it into an FRFR cab or something, it sounds completely different. It comes back in the monitors, it sounds different, and I have to do it again. And there's too much top end on it, and it's really compressed. And you get this sort of, you can only play in this area where the guitar has got this much. This is what I was talking about before. Again, if you practice, you get better and better and better. That means you can get more and more out of the guitar all the time. You know, so are you good enough to buy it, to play a 10,000 pound guitar? Maybe not, you know, but maybe that's not the point. That's not the point. The point is that you practice instead of spending time on listening to the 200 or 2,500 different IRs that is out there that people have made, or all the profiles that Kemper has uploaded to the cloud, and you know, there's tens of thousands of them, and you sit there and you're just trying to find one. Oh, that doesn't sound like my Vox. I like a Vox amplifier, but if you never plugged into a Vox amplifier and played it till the ears bled, almost like playing it till my fingers bled, you know, then the experience, you know, you got people. I've seen people play in their bedrooms and using stuff like that and then they come out and they plug into an amp, and it's almost like it's a scary oh, what happened there, and it's really difficult all of a sudden to be able to control it, you know. And that's why I think practicing instead of spending time on all of this is really important. I don't really know, I was going to talk about cheap guitars, but this has sort of turned into different videos, so it's turned into a video. Cheap guitars, expensive amp, that's my preferred thing, you know. Amplifiers, always my preferred thing, because I think that if you want to get better and you want to learn the most out of the guitar you can, then you need a speaker that pushes some air. You need to be able to feel the differences. A little bit more reverb, maybe some the Dane I just kicked on there, and it's got a little bit of a delay as well. So what do you think? I'm putting out questions here. This is what I want to do with this channel. You know, I want to create a community where you guys can talk in the description. You know, in my personal opinion, I like to use guitars, and I could play a gig on this easy. You know, this has got 9s on it. I would probably, as you know, I like 10s, you know. But this has got a set of 9s on it because we were using it for a video recently, a while ago, and we just put a set of 9 on it so it would feel the same as all the other guitars that Fender makes, because they put 9 on all of their guitars. So it was a blindfold channel, so whatever. But I think, you know, what do you think? What do you think? Do you think that you are getting enough out of a cheap guitar and, you know, a plug-in or a Velton GP200, or have you got a QC? Do you use your QC or your Kemper or your Helix or your, you know, whatever it might be, your Moore, your whatever? Do you use all of these features? Do you use all the features? Do you use all the amps? Have you ever plugged into a Dumble amp? Have you ever plugged into a 1963 Vox AC30 top boost? Have you ever plugged into a 1959 Marshall? Real one, 4x12. Anyway, I was probably ranting a little bit there, but you get what I'm saying. So at the end of the day, you know, is it just, do we need 220 different amps? Or do we just need the one, and then we need to practice? And do we then need to learn how... Have you ever listened to a violinist or a cello player? You know, I'm gonna go out. Have you ever listened to a cello player? Just the amount of feel, touch, emotions that they can get from a stringed instrument. This is a stringed instrument. This deserves the best, in my opinion. Yes, you can get, you know, so the analogy goes, you know, if you're not good enough to drive, if you can drive a car, you know, can you drive a Formula One car? No, you can't. Okay, so that's what we use a lot in the videos. If you're not good enough, if you can drive a car, but can you drive a Formula One car and get in and just drive it? Maybe not. But what about the other way around? Lewis Hamilton, he can drive a Formula One car. When he gets down into your Fiat Panda from 2009, you know he's going to drive that Fiat Panda 1,000 times better than you can ever drive it, and I can ever drive it. Because he's so good, he's good enough, he's practiced in cheap cars and in go-karts, and then all of a sudden he's driving Formula One cars. When he goes back to the cheaper car, he's still going to be incredible on it. And that's why you hear somebody like, when people pick up guitars and they sound good on stuff, that's because they're practiced and they've done it a lot, you know, and they've done it with the real stuff. It's not, you know, yes, you see the people driving on a car game and then they go in and drive it in real life. You know, maybe that's the thing. I don't know, you know, but is there such a thing for guitars? I just know for myself that when I feel like playing and when I get a guitar in my hands and it is set up and an amplifier and a guitar that just sounds good, I feel like I want to keep playing. I don't feel like I want to sit down and try to find the next amplifier or the next pedal or the next thing, you know. That's where I want to just sit and noodle and just enjoy that moment when the guitar. That's just me. Anyway, food for thought. First video again, please comment in the comment section below what you think we should do here on the channel, you and me together, because this is what it's all about as a community. But I wanted to just poke the bear. Are you practicing enough? Are you spending more time just on faffing around with profiles and with amps, models and all sorts of stuff? Are you practicing instead, you know? And do you think that being good at that having an amplifier will help you, learn the instrument and find out what it actually has to offer this bit? And if you're only this good, this is the Squire, this is you. That sounds like that. If this is you, that sounds like that meme. But you know what I mean. You practice and get better and better and better. You Lewis Hamilton. You know, you Lewis Hamilton in your mum's car. You Lewis Hamilton. Oh, you get better and better and better. Oh, I'm gonna go into a better car. Oh, I'm gonna go up here. Oh, I'm gonna have a Formula One car. Ah! And then you come back down. You know, to this. You are like this all of a sudden. This is your mum's car now, and you are like that. You're Lewis Hamilton. You're like this. You can absolutely You see what I'm saying. You know where I'm trying to go with this. So please just have a like and subscribe and all that stuff, because that always helps. And then just let's have a discussion and see what you think. And I mean, the cheap guitar, you can't go wrong with it. They're all good at the moment. They're all nice. And, some of them, even the £99 ones, you get rosewood. But, do you need the rosewood? This is what I'm trying to say. I keep saying, please, like, I don't want to stop it. But does it even make a difference, rosewood? Does the older body, is it okume or whatever it is it a basswood body? Yeah, wood makes a difference, yes, but only if you're good enough to make a difference. I know this might come across, as I said, big-headed, but it's the same as plugging into a 150 watt amplifier. It'll take your head off if you don't know how to play it, and I've seen players talk about that before, and it's very true. And it's the same as me jumping into Lewis Hamilton's Formula 1 Ferrari. I'm going to just crash it immediately if I can even get it going, if I even get it started, right? So that's my sort of take to this. And I love cheap guitars. I think they're great, but I will always plug them in to a decent amplifier, because I think it'll make you practice more once you get that sound. And feel in the room, not in headphones, not in little speakers, not little laptop speakers, 112 speaker that just moves a bit of air and just makes you, makes you appreciate what a guitar was and what it should be. And on that note, I'll leave you to discuss in the comment section below, and hopefully I'll go live at some point as well, because I would love to have a little live session with everybody and have a discussion about things. But yeah, so let's keep going. Practice that guitar, because making patches and stuff is not gonna spend an hour, 2 hours. It's not gonna make you better. Sound's not gonna. You need to practice that guitar. See you later. Bye.